other way.
What's going on, guys? Greek Freak here, and in this video we're going to be talking about a NBA trade rumor surrounding Demar Derozan, and it is that the Orlando Magic is interested in trying to trade for Demar Derozan. Now, as far as this, we do not have any as far as rumors or anything that's going around that the Spurs are directly looking to trade Demar Derozan by any means of this fashion, but from what we're actually seeing here, we're seeing the fact that Orlando is definitely interested in making a trade. Now, in this trade, of course, and they're not being a direct trade that's being sent out, but they're definitely looking at the fact that Evan Fournier would probably be the main piece that has to go around in order to make this piece work. Now, of course, whenever we look at DeMar DeRozan's stats this season, we're looking at 19.4 points per game, around 5 rebounds and 5 assists, shooting a very good and solid 49% from the field. But despite that, has not made a three-pointer this season yet, as of course we know the fact he tried to add that into his game last season, but it really just has not really seemed to find his way into this game, which is very strange considering his ability to make probably being one of the better mid-range jump shooters in the NBA, if not probably, I'd have to put at least the second best next to Kawhi Leonard. So whenever we look at something like that, I think the fact that looking at their two records, you're looking at Orlando being 4-7, and of course the San Antonio Spurs at 5-6. Of course, early in the season, we have to see sort of how things go out, but you have to think the fact that if the Spurs end up looking like they're going in the wrong direction, maybe trying to make moves and trying to change up what they're doing as far as their players with LaMarcus Aldridge and with DeMar DeRozan. So whenever we look at this, I don't see them instantly pulling a trigger anytime soon, just due to the fact that, of course, the San Antonio Spurs having the longest record in the NBA right now currently, with the most consecutive playoff appearances. And with that, we're definitely having to see the fact that the San Antonio Spurs obviously have the ability to do this. Now, of course, with the Western Conference definitely heating up as far as competition, and the San Antonio Spurs probably at more or less their weaker points in this entire stretch and run. But I think the fact that many people could have assumed that the Spurs couldn't have made it in previous seasons and are able to, of course, maintain that with just the great coaching from Greg Popovich, being able to add and maneuver every single player to perform at a high level. But whenever we look at, of course, Orlando on the other side, we're looking at a team that's, of course, trying to fight their way into a playoff position. And, of course, as we do know, last season making the playoffs for the first time in many seasons, as we just have to sit there and see the fact that they're trying to, of course, become a team that can consecutively come up with it. And, of course, they have younger talent, which is really what is going to underline this as far as them being able to make a trade. Now, of course, if you're somebody like San Antonio, you obviously would want some younger form of talent. But if you're Orlando, you want to try to maintain this to as much younger talent as possible. And they definitely have some pieces that I definitely wouldn't see them really trying to move. That being, of course, Jonathan Isaac or somebody like Mo Bamba. Now, of course, is it questionable whether or not we see Markelle Fultz maybe trying to be thrown into it? It's possible. Of course, how interested another team would be in somebody like that, who, of course, has not really shown too much and, of course, has missed a lot of season due to injury. But whenever we look at something like this, I think the fact that DeMar DeRozan obviously could be very suitable for a team. Of course, as I mentioned, one of the better mid-range jump shooters. And despite that, though, of course, the downfall being the fact that in today's modern-day NBA, he's not a good three-point shooter. And at that shooting guard position, it's very rare to see a shooting guard that cannot make that three-point shot. But as far as that, we, of course, are going to have to see into this season how both teams are going as far as how they're to be arranged. As we all do know, Orlando had a very good season last season, making the playoffs for the first time in a long time. And then, of course, San Antonio, who's, of course, has maintained a very consistent appearance in the playoffs, despite, of course, even the dramatic changes that have happened as of recent with Kawhi Leonard leaving them last season. But as far as that, I think the fact that the real question in this decision is going to go down to that. So could there be other teams as far as looking at DeMar DeRozan, or could the Orlando Magic, if they're looking at somebody like DeMar DeRozan, maybe looking at some other players as well, as far as trying to find a piece to put around their younger talent and really trying to maneuver into that way as well. Now, as far as that, of course, the main question is going to be, as time goes on, is this something that they're going to keep sticking with? Of course, depending on, I feel, as it being so early into the season, we don't know how good that these teams are going to directly be. So we're going to see how that really works out for each of them, and then that will determine whether they try to pursue trades or not. And then, of course, whenever we look at just how they're going to be performing throughout the season, whether or not that they will be interested into that as well. So the real question is going to be between those. And of course, I want to know from you guys, what is your thoughts on this? Do you think the fact that Demar Derozan will be traded this season, or do you think the fact that the San Antonio Spurs stick with what they have, they're going to maintain their team? And if not, tell me, who do you think they may try to trade, where they may go end up at, and what teams you would like to see as far as in this end. Of course, do you think Orlando's going to go for any trades? Do you think you see any type of all-star caliber players going towards the Orlando Magic? And if so, who do you think that they'll try to trade in that? So tell me what your guys' thoughts are there. And if you guys enjoyed this video, make sure that you guys leave a like and subscribe to become part of the Greek Army today. And as always, this is Sparta.